Good evening. My name is Sam Lucero, and this is my presentation for our discussion board 1. This is my daughter Angelina Lucero. She is a third grader at Wanamaker Elementary School, and she loves history as much as I do. But anyway, we are going to speak this evening about the Boston Freedom Trails, in particular the Paul Revere House, which was built in 1680 and is the oldest remaining structure in downtown Boston and the only home on the Freedom Trail. Paul Revere purchased the home when he was 35 in 1770, and he lived there with his 8 children and his wives when he made his famous messenger ride to Lexington on the night of April 18th and 19th, 1775. The house was would be a very, very important aspect of learning history, and very important to individuals as young as my daughter or even younger, in primary, secondary, and even higher learning students, because of the importance of the home. Paul Revere was a very influential man throughout history, not only for his midnight ride, but because of his tribute the following year for the Boston Massacre. On March 5th, 1771, again on the first anniversary of the Boston Massacre, Paul Revere displayed objects in the windows of his house. Observing the solemn occasion, many spectators crowded the square and the streets that night. The mood was silent, and the people's faces were that of gloom. The north window contained a figure of the genius of liberty. Holding a liberty cap, under her foot was a soldier hugging a serpent, which represents that of military tyranny. The center window contained a printed view of the Boston Massacre. The south window contained an obelisk with the names of the 5 victims of the massacre. In front was a bust of Christopher Snyder. Snyder was a schoolboy and had lost his life by a shot fired in a crowd by Ebenezer Richardson 2 weeks before the massacre. Behind the bust was a figure representing Snyder's ghost, as he stood when he received the fatal wound, with the inscription below, "Snyder's pale ghost, fresh bleeding stands, and vengeance for his death demands." This was a very interesting home, to say the least. Throughout the remaining history, it did house many. It served as a boarding house for sailors and a tenement for Irish, Jewish, and Italian immigrants who lived in the north end of Boston. The home is still standing today, and there's very important traditions that go along with the history of the home. My daughter here is going to explain why she believes that it would be a very interesting and educational field trip.
I think it would be an interesting. I think it would be a cool field trip because he was a famous person, and he was warning people about the regulars are coming. The regulars are British people, the British people.
And she also really likes the Paul Revere's Ride poem by Longfellow. She's going to read a portion of it. That's her favorite section.
So through the night rode Paul Revere, and so through the night went his cry of alarm to every Middlesex village and farm, a cry of defiance and not of fear, a voice in the darkness, a knock at the door, and a word that shall echo forevermore. For born on the night wind of the past, through all our history to the last in the hour of darkness, a pearl and need. The people will waken and listen to hear the hurrying rough beats of that steed and the midnight message of Paul Revere.
Thank you very much. Again, I believe even though we live in Topeka, Kansas, we've never visited Boston. She was very excited on just reading on the research I did for this course, for this presentation. Again, I thank you and have a good evening.
Bye.
I can't go over 5 minutes.
I can